What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Creatively Driven Podcast. My name is Josh McKenzie, and in this podcast, we talk about anything that inspires us creatively, be that through art, music, video. The world is your oyster when it comes to creative outlets, I feel. And today, today's episode is going to be a special one because I got a guest joining me, a good friend of mine, Jacob Gettins. We met back in 2008 when we were both still living in Ontario. I was working at this gas station, and we started chatting about some music I'd playing. I was looking to get out of my current living situation, and after a handful of chats, he offered me a place to stay in the summer, and we formed a solid friendship. Since then, Jacob's been someone who's inspired me to find my path in my creative passions as he's followed his. If you're into cars, drifting, or the automotive world in general, there's a good chance you may have seen his name pop up. He's been deep in the scene for years, both behind the wheel and behind some seriously good marketing work. We'll talk today about how he stayed creative in such a fast paced industry, what it's like turning passion into career, and just some real talk about doing what you love, even when it's not easy. Stoked to have him on the podcast. Let's get into it. Here's Jacob Gettins.
Damn, that was sick. I like that. I like the scripted intros. That's a tough thing to do, but
It is.
good work on that. Yeah, it's I personally don't like scripted intros for me because, and I think this is different because I've been on enough shows that like you could read that off and it's not going to be weird for me. It's still a little weird, but it's cool. But with so many people, when you get guests who haven't done podcasts before and you start reading off a description about them, they kind of lock up when you throw into the intro. So that was good, man. Good job.
Thanks, buddy. Had to have to commend ChatGPT a little bit on some of that, basically just structuring it together. But
Nah.
it's a resource I didn't really start using until recently, occasionally, and it does make things a little easier.
Yeah, if it to me it does either the first 5% or the final 5%.
Yeah,
That's how I kind of utilize it. Like sometimes I'm trying to brainstorm something or I can't think of a reference or something along those lines, and I'll use it to find whatever that is,
yeah,
get the idea to 95%, and then be like, can you just make sure I didn't spell a bunch of shit wrong and
yeah.
you know clean up what I've done.
Fine tune this a little bit for me.
Yeah. I don't see an issue with that. I see the issue when people just like blatantly take something and copy and paste it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it the same way. Like it should be a tool for just kind of fine tuning things. I mean, the bulk of it is always going to be me, but
Mhm.
just for the sake of polishing it and keeping things a little more, slightly professional, just a little more maintainable.
Yeah. It's good to soften the edges on things or just make sure that you don't all your hard work doesn't go to waste because you didn't know how to spell something correctly.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it's a thing. I saw something yesterday where this guy he's a content creator like in Calgary or whatever, and he's done like some work with Canada and stuff, and kind of going through a bit of a thing. And he put like the slide out saying he just turned 48, so this is the 48 things that he's doing in his life or whatever. And it looked good, except the very bottom forward was misspelled wrong, and I was
Mm.
like, ah, yeah, one of those things where you're not sure if you have the heart to tell them.
I mean, us creative people are not normally known for our spelling abilities, so it's not necessarily shocking that that's the case.
No, no,
So
this is very true, man.
yeah,
So, I guess quick question. We met back in '08
yeah.
before anything really automotive or camera related really made an appearance in our lives that led us to where we are now. What were your creative outlets that you grew up with?
Ooh, that's interesting. So '08, I would have been what 17. My birthday is late, so usually if it's like '08, I just say 17 because,
Yeah,
you know. So 17, what was I doing at 17? I mean, a lot of it, and this is kind of like a retrospect thing. A lot of it was like the improv and magic stuff that I was doing back then. That
yeah.
was the kind of the big stuff. Like you know this. Like
Twisted
I was
reality.
so heavy into magic. Yeah, Twist Reality.
Yeah,
Yeah, throwback to that one.
yeah.
I found one of my old business cards when I was moving, and I'm like, holy shit.
I still kind
So
of remember it wasn't like black and white.
yeah, and it had like
Yeah,
the letters were weird, and the phone
yeah,
number
yeah.
was like laid out strangely, so it didn't actually look like a phone number until you like called it or texted it.
That's
It
creative.
was yeah, it was weird, but it was good. It met the vibe and everything else. But yeah, that was the big thing. Was like I was just so heavy into magic and learning that, and then it just improv in school was the other one, which has done me quite well in the last couple of years. But those were the two big ones. Music was in there as well, but like I hadn't really gotten to the point of creating any music.
Yeah,
That kind of came in more or less when you moved in. That's when it really kicked off because I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, well, we've got a drummer, we need something else. I'm not gonna be able to learn guitar very quick, so I can yell into a microphone all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even really remember hearing any complaints from, like, Dave or your mom or anything about, the levels and
No, I mean, I think it's probably because you were good. Not that you're not now, but you were good at the time. So it's not like it was somebody learning to play drums. It was somebody who could already play drums, trying to get better at playing drums, and
Yeah.
that's livable. But like, dude, I couldn't imagine living with a kid who's just learning how to play drums.
I have always said nobody loves the drums more than the drummer because anybody
Oh,
else who has to listen to it and, like, there's no dynamics on an acoustic kit. You can't really it's so hard to play quiet.
yeah, it's gotten better now with some of the pad stuff and obviously like the electronic kits and things like that. But it's still loud. Like it is not
Yeah.
an instrument you can play silently.
No, you still hear, like, the tapping and the clicking and
Yeah,
stuff. It's
yeah,
not really
much
a
better.
3 AM thing in the house with your parents asleep.
No, no, although we definitely did that on a few occasions. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely did that. But yeah, I mean, those were my big outlets was learning and creating magic was a big one. At that point, I was really pushing like developing my own tricks and my own routines and things. Um, and then yeah, that was kind of like a lot more performance art was I guess the general way of putting it.
100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
you always seem like you were, pretty comfortable with doing the magic stuff, and yeah, I mean, you did it lots, and yeah,
Yeah,
you're always stoked
constantly.
about it.
Yeah, it's funny because it kind of popped back up into my life again recently when I was at FD in St. Louis. Ryan Sage, who's the president of FD, had a deck of cards, and they use those decks to do like a random draw thing. And I picked it up, and it's a company called Mavericks. And I was like, "Why did you buy these?" He's
Yeah.
like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "These are like the cheapest, worst cards." He's like, "Oh, they feel all right." I'm like, "No, no, no." And I literally left the track, went to Walmart, and bought two brand new sets of bicycle cards and brought them back.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Feel these." He's like, oh, and then I started showing him like all the old crazy custom decks that I used to own, and then it went into that, and then now I actually have a note in my calendar to bring one of those custom decks to him. I fly out to Seattle tomorrow morning, so I'm
That's
going to
awesome.
bring him like one of the old school custom decks and be like, this is like prime level, best decks in the world at the time.
I feel like this is a time you could break out the briefcase.
I still have it. It's right there. It's literally right behind the camera. So I have
That's sick.
a unit of all of my stuff and everything's still in that exact same briefcase.
Yeah,
How funny is that?
it's a man, like, honestly, between seeing you with the mohawk and the briefcase and, like, the straight jacket and stuff, it was yeah, that was awesome.
Always been a weird dude, man. I've always liked attention. So it was a good career path at the time to demand attention.
But you know what, man? If it works, and, it's done you well, so
It's worked out now. Yeah. I'm not a magician, but I think what I've learned doing that has helped me in other places.
for sure, for sure. You work magic on other things now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it's a different type of magic now.
So, after I left, obviously, you started, like, Pistonhead Productions, and,
Yeah.
I guess we never really I never knew a lot about, like, us being so into cars that we were. So what is it that got you into the automotive world so heavily?
Um some of it I think was I was into cars kind of right after I got into college because like Dave's my stepdad for anybody listening. Dave always had vehicles around. He was always working on stuff, but I never had that interest. There was like an old Toyota pickup truck that I was supposed to work on that I never did. I had that F-250
Mhm.
for a while, but I never really worked on that. And then I had my first protege, which was a '98. That was the one I threw in the ditch actually on the way home from band practice one night. If you remember that,
I think I do
uh,
remember that.
yeah, hit a icy patch and backed it in going down Highway 11 South. Uh, that was a fun night. But yeah, once I got to college and realized how expensive it was to fix cars because Dave wasn't around to fix my cars anymore,
Yeah.
and I needed a brake job or something, it was going to be like $400. So I had to learn how to fix cars at that point. Then I was like, oh, this is like fun and immediately rewarding because it's like I've done something, I've learned something, I've done it, and now there's a direct result to something I've learned and completed. And I find I work quite well on very short feedback loops of like gratitude and things like that.
Mhm.
I need to have those wins pretty regularly to keep me motivated.
Yeah.
And once I realized like, oh, I can work on cars, I can if I take 3 hours and cut off the exhaust and put a cherry bomb glass pack on it, it will sound different. And I like that sound. Nobody else did, but I did.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what kicked it off, was like necessity in the beginning. And then that reward for doing something or learning something, then I was like, oh, now I'm hooked, because like I can learn how to paint a car with rattle cans, and I did that. I
Yeah.
two-toned that Protege red and black, or put seat covers on, or LED strips, and all the the basic early shit.
Yeah.
So that's really what kicked it off. And then what fed it was, I moved in with Garrett and Clayton after college, after a bad breakup, and then when I first met my now wife, I lived with them in like a house with like 6 different roommates and shit. It was
Yeah.
like that you know college experience, if you will.
Yep.
And they were really into cars, and I was like, well, I just got into cars. They were pretty established,
Yeah.
and we just spent hours and hours watching like Mighty Car Mod videos, Crispy Media videos,
Yeah.
Robbie Works, like anything that we could get our hands on. That's what we watched. So that's really, really what pushed that kind of drive into Piston Productions. Which, do you remember? Here's a trivia for you. Do you remember what Piston Productions was called before it was Piston Head?
Was it automotive mods?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we got sued over it, so we had to change that real
Oh,
quick.
fuck off. Really?
Yeah, 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 dude.
No way.
But what's funny is the guy that took he sent us a cease and desist and threatened to sue. So I guess I should caveat that and say we didn't actually get sued. We got very close. I ended up setting up a meeting with him, and then we created a deal where, because his company was called Automotive Photo, so that's where the
I
right,
see.
yeah. So we turned that into a deal where we could use Automotive Photo's marketing accreditations to get into events, and then we would give him some of the footage for his website, and that was the trade-off. But we still had to change our name. So
I see.
yeah, and I'm still friends with the guy now, GC,
Oh, that's good.
Giancarlo. Yeah, so we still chat. He's a big cigar guy, so he's the guy I
Nah,
chat with anytime I want cigar recommendations.
that's wicked.
Yeah,
It,
so just
it's
trying
cool
to
that you turn that into a positive, man. Really, in the end.
what else are gonna do, right? So I just talked to him. I'm like, hey, like I get it. Like, yeah, do we kind of rip off your name? Maybe. Like, I don't know. I have no money to go to court, so you're not going to get anything out of us. Like,
Yeah.
what else can we do about this? And he's like, well, I have this website. We'd love to do more video stuff. And I'm like, we'll produce the videos. We'll shoot all of it. We'll give you some of it. We'll put your branding all over it. And I think we did that for a year. It got us into the auto show on Media Day. So like that
Yeah.
was at the time, that was like, holy shit, we've made it.
Okay, and you know what? That's like a perfect segue. So the next one I had was like seeing you at Garrett show, you and Garrett at car shows.
Yeah.
Interviewing people and stuff. It was cool to see as a bystander's perspective. What was the vision for Piston Head Productions or Automotive Mods, like when you guys first started? Where did you want to go with that?
I don't know if there's like I think the end goal obviously was just to make a living off of it, because like YouTube was big and you always heard about people getting these big brand deals, making a bunch of money off of it and stuff. So I think that at the time was the end goal, was just like, can three guys make a living off of making car content?
Yeah.
And we never really got to that point. We got sponsors early. That fell into my domain of trying to like arrange that. We got access to a lot of cool events. We got to travel
Mhm.
to a lot of things. We got a bunch of really cool experiences, like driving the Sherp up in, I think it was Sudbury. Media passes to the Canadian Auto Show, got invited to come down to Grid Life, things like that. So it did work out. I wouldn't say we ever made a living off of it, but we greatly reduced our cost to go to events and build cars. So we got
100%.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're able to obviously have some things, reduce your overhead, it's going
Yeah.
to make things easier, obviously, and kind of enhance your experience.
Yeah. And that was the main thing. Like looking back, it led to a lot of what happened now. Like I interviewed Chris Forsberg very early, Ryan Turk very early. Um, I worked with what the heck was the name of it? Torque Drift, like reviewing their game very early, a couple of apps and stuff like that. Like it's very easy to look back on it now and be like, oh shit, like that all built where I'm at this point. But at the
Yeah,
time, it was just trying to do anything we could to get attention. That's
yeah,
really what it was about.
100%. And I mean,
Yeah.
in those moments, you never, if an opportunity is plopped on your lap, don't say no. Like you've got to just roll with the punches. Do what you can to make it work, and you never know what'll come out of it, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing. There's so much stuff we did that didn't go anywhere, but there was a few things that did go somewhere, and that's what turned into more or less what I do now. So
Yeah,
it worked out.
100%. And I think
Yeah.
obviously the podcast kind of aided into that as well.
Yeah, because I started the Piston Head podcast back then, and it got big. Like it, I didn't realize at the time how big it had gotten. I think our
Mhm.
most downloaded show was like 30,000 downloads, which
Wow.
is wild.
Who
Like
was it?
Tony Angelo, funny enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then I've re-interviewed him now for the FD one, which was
Yep.
kind of a cool full circle moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. We did a lot of cool shit with the podcast too. And that turned into a radio show, which most people don't know about either.
I
I
didn't
had
even
a
know that either.
I had a radio show for 1 year at Hunters Bay Radio. I can't remember
That's
what the
awesome.
heck it was called though. It was like Highway Talk or something.
On
Where
HBC.
every week I would do a 30-minute segment about cars, whether it was like a topic or I would pull segments from the podcast or whatever I could. But yeah, I for 1 year I had my own radio show.
I feel like I do kind of vaguely remember that now. And I mean, like once I moved out here in 2010, I kind of just, was doing my thing, but occasionally I would see things pop up and I was like, wow, like he's definitely doing some cool things.
There's always something on the go, that's for
Yeah,
sure. It's
for sure.
always something happening.
So I took a look back at some of the Piston Head videos, and you flew down to Arizona for a week with the Maximum Driftcast boys and
Yep.
helped build the LS400 and having tacos with Paco. Uh,
Yes. Yes. Dude, that was nuts. The same thing. That was just one of those like, do I think it pulled off a couple of other trends of people rebuilding cars
mhm.
and like this is wrecked, can we rebuild it and all that stuff, and we got a couple of brands involved, and that was the big thing. I don't, if I remember correctly, I didn't pay for the flight. So another brand paid for the flight to do it, and then I stayed with Brian the whole time. We worked out of what is 2F Performance, which builds like body panels for drift cars.
Okay.
Their shop, they had a detailing shop, and then they had the 2F shop. And yeah, I mean, Brian had to work a couple of days, but it was basically me in the shop by myself, just trying to get that car back up and running. And I can't remember how the numbers went. It wasn't amazing, but like Maximum Driftcast was the biggest podcast in drifting at the time. Brian was the producer for it. Paco was around. It was just same thing. I saw an opportunity, and I'm like, hey, this car needs to be rebuilt. If someone can cover my expenses, I'll come down and rebuild it. But
Yeah.
I just want the content out of it, and it worked. It made for a really good relationship with those guys, which ultimately helped with a few other things down the road, and even some of the brands. Funny enough, I think it's Chris from KNN is now Chris Forsberg's manager,
Oh,
and so if I need like notes and stuff on Forsberg, that's the guy I go to. Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was. I actually have I can grab it if you want. You know what? Screw it. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, buddy.
I realized I had it like tacked to my wall, but that's the car right there, man.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's one of your thumbnails.
Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second. One more time.
I think that's one of your thumbnails I saw for the video.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the car, man. I mean,
Nice.
the end goal was just to have him drifting, which we accomplished by the last video. So, and I always looked at stuff like that as like a pilot as well. I always wanted to be like, oh, can it like if I do this and I prove like it's a good concept, could I make that into a show or something where I fly to different places and we rebuild the car and tell the story of it and ultimately get somebody back racing who couldn't afford to race before.
Yeah.
So I shot that as a pilot and then tried to shop around that as a TV show to like a bunch of different companies. And I think a version of it got produced, but obviously it wasn't with me. So
Oh, okay. So like it went through that actual kind of like one of those full videos.
yeah, I basically would put it together and then I would send like Speed Network and, the Power Block and like actual television companies. I would try and get it in their hands. And like, dude, I don't know. I was like, what, 22,
Yeah.
23 maybe? Like I had no idea what I was doing or how to get a hold of people. But I got a couple of responses. Discovery was the other one. I actually had conversations with Discovery about it, but
Really?
it never, yeah, I've got the email somewhere.
That's
Um,
sick.
but it never got picked up. So
Well,
is
and
what it is.
you know what? It's one of those things where you obviously you want traction. You wanted to go
Yeah.
somewhere, and there's nothing stopping you back. So I mean, again, if you get a no, you get a no. But if you don't ask, you're always going to get a no.
Yeah. Worst, I tell this to everybody, worst anyone's going to tell you is fuck off. Like
Yeah.
as long as you're cool with that, as long as you are fine with someone telling you to go fuck yourself,
Yep.
everything else is easy.
Yep.
Like that's it. So
There's
I just,
other doors.
yeah, exactly. You know, this, you know, looking back, like that would have been a really rough living to fly out to all those events to work on a car for a couple of weeks and hopefully it works. Like it's a lot of work to make that happen. And
Oh yeah.
ultimately I'm kind of happy it didn't, because like maybe I would have, you know, peaked too soon. I would have got the one show and that was it. And then back to working in concrete plants or something.
Oh God.
Right.
Hard times, literally.
Oh, I know. I know.
I don't miss my concrete days. I'll tell you that.
I don't. I still get. Do you get like nightmares? Like you know, like working nightmares. I used to get them with kitchens all the time. You wake up to the sound of a chip machine. Um,
Just
every once
relaying.
every once in a while, I get a concrete nightmare where like trucks are broken down, plants broken down, halfway through a job. There's going to be a cold joint in the floor. You know,
Yeah.
contractors screaming at you. You're trying to range trucks. Drivers are pissed. Like every once in a while, I'll still get one.
You know what? I had one not long ago, actually. Like whenever I was working at Lafarge, I never had anything like that. Because I mean,
Mm.
I was a driver, a dispatch, and then a mechanic. But when I was working with Dad pumping concrete, there was some times, and I remember not probably a month or so ago, or something like that. I had one, and I woke up, and then I even messaged him, but I was like, "Fuck, I'm glad we don't do concrete anymore."
Oh, dude, it's such a brutal industry. It's one of the only like delivery industries that are the product can expire within hours.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Not many things are like that.
No, and if you get like the weekend warriors, like I know
Oh,
in Edmonton, you get these guys that almost you question their ability to actually place the floor, and they want like accelerators in it, and their window has gone from like an hour and a half to maybe an hour, and then you got the truck for like 3 hours.
yeah. Yeah, and the driver's like, I'm gonna run out of water. Like, I can't keep this load alive. And you're like, cool, I find a place to
Yeah,
get rid of it. Yeah,
yeah. Then
yeah,
there's like the emergency message to the other driver, hey, can you swing by and give this guy leftover water? And
yeah. You just know when you have to make that call, it's bad. Or when
oh
they're
yeah.
where it's like, how many wheelbarrows do you have? And like one, and it's like you realize it's 16 wheelbarrows for every meter of concrete, right?
Yeah.
So I think
And
that's still the number.
I,
Ah,
I
anyways,
always remembered a meter of concrete as 10 by 10 by 4 inches.
yeah, 10 by 10 by 4. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of my go-to when somebody talked about a meter of concrete. But I wasn't a guy that like took the orders. I would put
Mm.
them in, but whenever it came to like quantity and dimensions, I would just toss it to the order desk. So
See, I did. I when I was in Huntsville doing concrete, I had to do both. I was the only batcher and dispatcher,
oh
and the
wow.
only full time maintenance guy.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was brutal. I learned a lot about myself when I worked there, though. Holy! So
Probably
I
same about
realized,
business.
yeah, I learned organization, time management, and truly how hard I could work, like both mentally and physically, because they are long days. They're 12, 14-hour days every day. You know, you're getting there at 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. Um, and when you're in a small plant, like 6 truck plant, you're doing everything.
Oh,
So
100%.
yeah, it was me, the drivers, and then the sales guy, and that was it. And the
Yep.
sales dude was older, and I couldn't ask him to. He'd load bins if I needed them to, because we only got 20 meters out of our bins. So you
Okay.
were constantly in the loader.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, good times. Concrete talk.
Oh yeah. Um, so I remember seeing the Soot Salon in
Yep.
I think it was 2016 on Super Street's Instagram, and it blew my mind because like obviously some of the things you had done before kind of came together for that. I wanted to touch on the fundraiser shop choir for those that don't know about it.
Yep.
Like what was the motive on the build? Like how'd you make it happen?
Yeah. So it started off as a joke. Funny enough, between that guy that tried to sue me, GC, a guy named Peter, who's the owner of NextMod, and myself, we were at Import Fest. We are all kind of hanging out, and it was talking about car builds, and I was like, "What do you think? Like, what gets attention now? Like, what really does it?" And they're like, "You got to do something wild and stupid, and like these like perfect cars are great, but they kind of get glossed over now. You really have to push the limit to do something." And I'm like, well, "What if we put like the biggest engine in the smallest car?" And it first started off with like a full size like transport truck engine in a in a smart car, and it was like, okay, that's not going to work. And then it
Yeah.
slowly turned into the 4BT into the Miata, and I found some schematics for the 4BT, and I was like, oh, this in theory would fit in this car. Like mathematically, you would have to cut a lot of shit, but it between the end of one valve cover and the front of the engine, it would fit without having to cut out the firewall.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And then it was like, okay, how do we fund this? How do we make this happen? And while this was all going on, I was actually at, I believe these timelines line up. If not, they might not perfectly line up, but I was doing work at the high school, helping out with the culinary class because I was working in kitchens at the time,
Yeah.
and I would help out at the school teaching. So I realized that like the shop program really hadn't had any major funding injection in a long time.
Okay.
And there was a Mr. Hall, who was the original teacher, was retiring, and there was Mr. Littlefield who was coming in, and younger guy really wanted to push it, and we kind of had some chats, and I was like, man, it'd be super cool if I could find a way to fundraise this. At the same time, Kickstarter was really big, like
Yeah.
like crowdsource or crowdfunding was really big. So it all just kind of like meld together where I'm like, what if we crowdfunded the build? We still sold merch. You could buy merch and get free entries into it. That would help fund the build, and anything that was more or less left over financially, we would just donate to the high school. Someone wins a car. It helps with our business because we can promote the hell out of it. Whatever money we raise surplus after building the car and bringing the car around to sell more tickets, that would all go to the school. So that was
Yeah.
kind of like more or less the idea. And then it took probably 6 to 8 months of planning, contacting everybody I could get a hold of, to get partnerships and stuff. So, we had Vibrant on board. Northern Upfitters built the engine.
Hmm.
There's a couple of diesel companies that came involved. Ground control coilovers, V8 Roadsters to do the subframes, like all these different companies. And then we got the school to strip the chassis because originally we had one chassis and it was absolutely rotted out,
Yeah, of
Canada.
course. Yeah.
We found another blue chassis, and then the high school stripped that for us, and then we brought that in and then did the build in 72 hours. So
Holy shit.
basically, the chassis came in, all the parts came in. We kind of mocked up a lot of stuff to make sure it would
Mm.
all work, and then we set up like some live stream cameras and filmed it. But essentially, we started Friday, and the car it wasn't even done, but the engine was in, seats were in, everything was like plumbed up and wired. We just couldn't get it to start, and then we had to drive down to Grid Life right after that, and then it fired up for the first time at Grid Life.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah,
Talk
there's
about
like
full circle there.
there's a photo of it being fired up, and I think I've got like my hand like straight up in the air, and it's like the first bit of exhaust. The photographer that got it, I had no idea who he was, but he like captured the
Nailed it.
exact moment the car fired up for the first time, and it's like absolutely beautiful. So yeah, that's and then we spent 6 months or so like touring it around the country, driving it at events, like really pushing it to try and like raise awareness of like funding at high schools, and then getting people to buy tickets and stuff. And
Mm.
um yeah, ultimately I think once we paid for everything, we only raised a few $1,000s for the school, but I mean, it was a few grand that they didn't end up having. And then what was kind of cool, but also like really strange, was like the winner selection. So the dude that won it was this older gentleman who used to be a teacher at the high school,
Oh,
and he
wow.
had bought some tickets to help support the thing, and
Yeah.
he was like 70 years old. And one of those like he bought tickets just to support the whole cause.
Yeah.
And I called him up. I was like, I think we did a live stream of when we did the drawing and stuff. And like, we put all the tickets into the exhaust and shot it at the exhaust, and I grabbed one. So he won it. I called him, and he's like, well, I don't want the car. And I'm like, well, you need to have it. You've won
You're the
it. Like,
winner.
I have to give it to you. And he's like, well, I don't really want it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe I'll like give it to my grandkids or something. I'm like, okay, well, I'll hang on to it for you for like a little bit, but like, I need you to kind of take ownership of it. Cause like you've won it. I need to get it out of my hands. There was all these things. There was one point where I'm like, is there a way that I could like buy it back off him? Which is now kind of commonplace in car giveaways. Like you hear about it,
Yeah.
like people take the cash instead of the car.
Yep.
And realistically, I really wanted to do that, but a lot of people are like, man, that would look really sus if you did that. You probably shouldn't. And I was like, no, you're
Hmm.
right. So ultimately, I got him, I signed over the ownership to him, and then he donated the car right back to the high school.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where the car lives now. I haven't seen it in years. but they use it as like a teaching aid to show like suspension geometry, diesel stuff. And I think every year they like get it running again, do a couple of burnouts in the parking lot, and then it goes back in. So
That's
it's
cool.
yeah, it's cool that it's there. I would have loved for it to go to some young kid who could go and beat the hell out of it, but
Oh yeah.
it's a full circle moment. They got a teaching aid where they can teach diesels, manual transmissions, you know, fabrication stuff, basic
Yep.
electronics, suspension. Like it's cool that it continued on to support the school as well as us being able to cut them a check for a few grand.
Yeah, and the fact that, it was born at the place where it's at, like, it's not just
Yeah.
it's got that story behind it as well. It's got quite a story compared to somebody's, shop thing that they did just in the shop, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's cool, and really like a kind of an unsung hero is a guy named Chris who gave us the shop to do it all in. Um, I feel bad. Like I look back now and realize like I didn't give him enough credit because like dude just let us invade his shop for a week straight, helped
Yeah.
us with everything. I'm sure tools went missing and stuff like that, but you know he really deserves a lot of credit because if it wasn't for him, we'd have nowhere to actually do the build.
Yeah, and hindsight is 2020. Like, in the moment, you do as much as you can, and I mean, there's always gratitude, and
Yeah,
everyone's appreciative, but at the end of the day, it's something might go a little bit not missed, but, not as out in the open as
yeah.
some of the other stuff.
It's what it is one of those things that like I kind of live with where I'm like I wish in the moment I wish I would have given him more credit or put him into the spotlight more or something like that. But I've seen him once or twice before, and I believe I've apologized to him in person for not. And he's never said anything to me. It's something that's just lived in my own head.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, and I try to hook up with him anytime I'm in Huntsville and just be like, 'cause he still lives in Port Sydney,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, I'll just be like, hey, like, what are you up to? Are you around? So yeah, Chris Young, super, super cool guy and incredibly thankful for what he helped me out with.
And like something about just back home is there are like so many little like towns and stuff around
Mm,
Huntsville where we used to live. Like there's a lot of places that you can go in that big of a amount of time.
yeah. And there's so many like 100-person towns.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
a significant amount of 100-person towns, 500 people towns.
Or even less, like 40. Like, I mean, I think of, do you remember the town Udney? That's
I
like up 169, like when you're heading towards like Oshawa.
I think I know the name.
Yeah, it's like 4 houses, and they called it Udney. And I just remember because my dad would drive through, and he's always like Udney, and I'm like, it's such a stupid name for a town, but yeah,
I was gonna say somebody was drunk went by and it's like instead of ugly, it came out as ugly. Oh, that's an
Udney.
ugly
Yeah,
town.
yeah, that's probably what it was. Some Scottish dude who tried to call it an ugly town, and it came out as Udney.
Groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah, groundskeeper Willie.
um, so like obviously that moment when you were down there with that car, it felt like you've been able to capture a lot of attention with the work you did. Obviously, open doors on your marketing journey, as well as growing yourself in the drift community even more, which it probably actually started that. Um,
Yeah,
like looking now with FD, like how does that feel to reflect on how far you've come and where you came from?
it's good. I have as much as like I talked about in the beginning, how I very much enjoy like the instant satisfaction of things. It takes me a long time when big life changes happen for it to like really hit me. Like it still in a lot of ways has not hit me the position that I'm at. Like it still
Hmm.
feels like it's fake, that I don't deserve to be there, that someone's just going to call me one day and be like, "Yeah, no, we screwed up, like we got the wrong guy." So, but in looking back, like, you know, 16-year-old me, 17, 20-year-old me would be like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing? This is wild." So that part is really cool, and that's more or less where I get that feeling from is like I try to make it, all my decisions I try to make of like, would younger me be stoked on what I'm doing right now? Because if
Yeah,
not, then I'm not going down the right path. If they would be, then this is where I should be. So
that's fair.
yeah, it's been a good guiding principle, and has it's helped me out in a lot of occasions. More, it's helped me more get out of situations I didn't want to be in, as
Yep.
opposed to get me into situations I do want to be in.
Yeah, because you're always going to gravitate towards what you want, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I sometimes I'll be like, oh, like when I was a part of like that bigger agency at the time, I'm like, yeah, I want money, I want to do all these crazy things, and then ultimately it was like I'm working obscene hours. I put myself into a position where I'm not doing the work anymore. People are just reporting to me, and
Yeah.
I was like, man, 16-year-old me would be like not stoked that you're just a boss who doesn't actually do shit. You just listen to people and talk like that.
Hmm.
That was all one of the main reasons why I ended up leaving that company, because it was like, younger me would not be stoked on what you're doing right now.
Yeah, you weren't working for you anymore, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I had a business partner, super cool guy, but just ultimately it was like, nah, this is not the type of project that I want to be involved in anymore. And I ultimately left and pursued some other stuff, but like that was one of the reasons. I just had that, um, I had that moment where I'm like, I wasn't younger me was not stoked on what I was doing, so
Yeah,
I had to have a hard talk with myself and be like, bro, this isn't where you should be right now.
that's fair, man. And
Yeah.
it takes, being real with yourself to be able to go through with that instead of just kind of letting the wind blow you around to see if it's going to get any better.
Yeah, and for me it only happens when I take a break. And I don't take a lot of breaks, so I don't
Hmm.
get that reflection time often, but almost always when Jess and I are on vacation is when some sort of massive life planning or massive life change happens. So like even we were in Ireland for a week and we kind of like laid out the next 3 years. Where we're like, here's plan A, here's plan B, here's plan C for the next 3 years, how it's going to work out.
Okay.
So just have to do that, because it's like if not, you're just stuck in that rut and you're just going through every day hoping something's going to change but never planning to do anything about it.
100%. And I don't think that we should ever truly lean on something that we have going on that's going to be the continuation for the rest of our days, right? Like life does
No.
change and nothing is forever.
Well, our parents taught us like, oh, you get a good job. Like my dad is a perfect example of that. Went to fire college, got into the fire department early, worked through the fire department his entire career, retired at 55, great pension, has a cottage, cuts the grass, drinks his beer.
Mhm.
That's the perfect life for him.
Yeah.
That sounds like the worst hell to me. Like
Yeah.
that sounds like the absolute worst decision of like, you did the exact same job for what, 35 years? Like that's I couldn't there's no way. And he was phenomenal at his job,
Yeah.
but there's no way I could do that.
I get it. Like I'm actually at a place right now where excuse me, I work out of town for a week on a week off as a heavy duty mechanic, and I've been in the shop for about a year and a half, and I haven't got enough field experience. Like I don't even truly call myself a mechanic because I'm not where I look like I should be for the time I put in,
Mm,
and I just want to get that experience. So I actually just talked to my supervisor recently and just said, hey, like like I like where I'm at, but I need some stimulation. Like I need some change, and
yeah.
some things have actually this past set have kind of switched around, and I'm going to be going out in the field for a little bit, so that should be good. It'll be a growing opportunity, and
Sick.
yeah, time to actually get my hands dirty a little more and just get into uncomfortable situations to grow, which is what I've wanted.
Yeah. You have to be in an uncomfortable position to grow. Like
Hmm.
that's just how it is. There's nothing there's no growth to be had when things are cushy.
No,
Like
no,
you
it's
because
just
you're
coast.
Yeah, exactly. So and people are so afraid of being uncomfortable or pain or fear or any of that stuff. And it's like, dude, that's where the best shit is.
a hundred
Like,
percent, man.
yeah,
Y-
like roller coasters are great because it's a little scary.
Yeah, yeah, that's a wicked statement, actually.
Like that's I don't know. It's don't get me wrong, it's nice to be comfortable for a bit, but
Mhm.
as soon as I get it, as soon as I get comfortable, like I'm doom scrolling, I'm
Yeah,
sitting on the couch for hours at a time. Like
yeah.
it's happened to me recently, and I'm like, um, it happened to me recently until essentially yesterday. To be perfectly honest, your timing on this is quite good. Uh, where I had a moment where something really didn't go my way, and it was because I was a little bit casual about things, and I had a wake up call because like something fell through, and I was like, "Fuck this." Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not happening again. Like me being a little bit too calm about a situation or a little too relaxed about it fucked me out of something, and like that's it. That's the last time that's happening.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
and the fact that you've identified that, right? And you can make steps further.
yeah, no, I know. I have a full breakdown of like how it all happened, and I can't get into it too much on here. I can tell you off to the side, but like, yeah, essentially something that I thought was like a sure bet fell through, and
Gotcha.
I found out yesterday, and I was like, I took about an hour to be kind of upset about it, and um, but I identified where the breakdown was. I immediately blamed somebody else, and then kind of was like, no, no, this is still my fault at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Even if somebody else was involved in that, I am still the root issue. So now I have this like definitive thing where I'm like, no, like you follow up, you push it, you make sure you're locked in with several people, not just one, and
Mhm.
never trust one conversation to get you to the end. Like it's you gotta lock this shit in early. So
100%.
yeah, yeah. So this morning I like went through and messaged a bunch of people. That's actually why we changed this time, was because like
Mhm.
of that situation. I messaged somebody, I'm like, hey, let's have a meeting about this. I want to lock this in now. So
Yeah.
I have two more events where I'm like, it was casual. It was just the conversation was like, yeah, we'd love to have you out. And I'm like, sick. Okay, cool. Well, I'll let you know. And now I'm like, no, I'm booking flights and sending bills now for
Yeah.
stuff that's coming up later in this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You definitely got to tackle it when it's there.
yeah,
and
just
and and
get what is
never
there.
actually trust like just that one thing. Like I've had that happen with a client. Like actually earlier this year I registered the business, and
Good.
he was a client before, and he just said, that's great, like I want to do something like every month with you. He sounded just as stoked. And then we went out for an awesome shoot. He got some great stuff for his company and everything. And it's been like cricket since. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Like, needed to get more things in writing, right? And just get more things solidified at a time.
Yeah. Just lock it in.
100%. So when you're doing the Piss and Head podcast, you started getting like bigger names on there, like Matt Farah, like Chris Forsberg, Jeff Stonebeck, Matt Field. Now these guys are guys he work with all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and even like some Ontario names like Steve Nairn, Chris Campashi, they were on there. Did you have others you were looking forward to getting on there, or you were trying to get onto the Piss and Head podcast before you went to FD?
Yeah, there was a couple of names that I was like hunting down. Rob Ferretti from Super Speeders was on that list. We had conversations. It just never got locked in. I wanted to have more FD guys on, that's for sure. Um, Mighty Car Mods guys,
Yeah.
I still haven't met them. I would still like absolutely love to. Crispy Media was another one who I did end up getting to meet in person 2 years
Yep.
ago at Laguna.
Nice.
I took a selfie with him. I had like a it was one of those like really cool moments where I was in the media area and he was there, and I like walked up and I was like, hey man. He's like, hey, what's up? And he's like working on camera. I'm like, man, this is super weird. I'm just gonna get out with him. Like, I fucking love your work. Like, I've
Yeah.
watched your videos for years. You're one of the people that got me into this. And like,
Yep.
he knew who I was through FD stuff. He's like, really? And I'm like, dude, I used to sit on, like, me and my buddies would sit on our couch and just watch your edits over and over again. Your single shot in Atlanta at FD is one of the most inspiring videos I've ever seen. And like and you could just see he's just like, and I mean, I blasted this dude with compliments for like 5 minutes straight. And he like looks at me, he's like, dude, I have no idea what to say. I'm like, can we just get a picture together? And can I just say that I met you? And he's like, yeah, for sure. And we've chatted once or twice since, but like, it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh my God, like if it
Yeah.
wasn't for Crispy Media, I never would have gotten into video work. I never would have gotten to do any FD shooting or any of the teams I worked with. Like that was one of the pinnacle guys. So
Yep.
getting to like meet him was super cool. So he was definitely a guy I would have loved to have gotten on the show. And maybe one day I'll get him on a separate show. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Maybe on the Anything podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I really got to push that a little bit more.
Well, and you know what? Like, again, if I hadn't seen Crispy's videos, like to me, the car guys were like Crispy, Halcyon Photo, and I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard of Washness Media, but he's like from the Pacific Northwest. And those three guys, and I guess Sam Schwartz, Schwa Films, he's from New York. And
Yep.
if I hadn't seen those guys' videos, like, I think they also just brought a tighter love for cars as well as video in. But like, I know some people look at it and they're like, why does this like do it for you? Because it's like a movie for cars. Like it's just shot so well, like everything is so smooth, everything just goes together so well, and it's just complementary to the vehicle. Like it's
Yeah. It provides justice to the effort that goes into building a car,
Mhm.
right? Because you just it you're forced to take a minute to see the detail of someone's hard work
Yeah.
is what it is. Like you watch it, you absorb it, and you notice you notice the lack of imperfections on those vehicles. And
Yeah.
it's just like, damn, somebody has put so much time into this. And a lot of the times you just walk by it at a show, and in this case, like their eye as a videographer or photographer forces you to face how good that person is, and maybe motivate you to be good at what you do.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's phenomenal. I still watch car videos.
I do too. It's
Yeah.
been I actually since I want to say since like just before we met up in Irwindale, um, I didn't I didn't really get into doing podcasts or even listening to a lot of them. I started to look more into like obviously the outer zone and some of the drivers and whatnot before I went to Irwindale to kind of be a little more familiarized with things. And it used to just be music, and now it's I want to say it's like 60-40 podcasting versus music. Like I still love music, don't get me
Mm.
wrong, but I've been had podcasts more in my ears recently and kind of just I don't know, I guess shifting my direction on where I'm looking at going with some things, and it's cool. It's actually inspiring to hear other people's podcasts.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It teaches you how they operate because there's so many different ways to podcast, right? Like you can do
Yeah,
a purely history one or research one where it's just you kind of reading a script and maybe ad libbing a little bit, and then there's just pure discussion ones. There's ones that are a mix of both. There's ones with several hosts. There's ones that are heavily edited, some with no editing. Like it's any other piece of art form. There's so many different ways that you can do it, and I truly think if you're going to be good at your craft, you have to absorb other people that are good at the same craft.
100%. And I
Yeah,
mean, I think it kind of depends on like for me, I'm doing this for me.
yeah,
There's no other reason. I love talking about these things, and like I recently did another one where a guy from work asked me, he's kind of following along, and he's like, what keeps you motivated to keep doing it? And I'm not looking to get a whole bunch of exposure. To me, I just want to put out that I love doing it, and the mediums that we have at our disposal nowadays it's so easy to do. Like you'd be
yeah.
crazy not to actually step into action with something that you've got on your mind.
Well, and this is the same thing with YouTube with me. I realized it a little bit later on because maybe halfway through Piston had I kind of realized I'm like, I've got kids now and I had kids at the time and I'm like, this isn't the chance of this taking over and becoming my lifeblood is so slim. And then it kind of shifted into just documenting all the crazy shit I was getting to do. And there's a
Yeah.
pretty definitive shift in the content when you see it, where it's less about like going to car shows, making these edits and more adventuring and showing those things. To me, the Grid Life South vlog is probably the best one. I think it's two parts. That was that when I realized like, oh, I can look back on this someday, and I still rewatch that video because it's one of the best adventures I've ever been on.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows the purest form of those adventures, to me at least. And some before it and some after are really, really good as well. But that's the one I always go back to for some reason. And when you realize that you're doing all this work, um, not for everybody else, but for yourself,
Hmm.
that's when the content gets really, really good.
Yeah.
Because if you're always doing it for everybody else, the chance of you finding that person is so slim, and you can never care about that content as much. But when you do it just for yourself, there are people that are like you that have the same tastes and everything else as you do.
Yep.
There's so many billions of people on this planet. Those people, they have to exist. They will then find it and they will reflect on it more because you care more about it. And
100%.
that is when the content gets really, really good. But it's so difficult to get there because you're always looking at the numbers. You're looking at like retention and downloads and whatever.
Yep.
But once you find that, it the numbers don't matter. And
100.
it's yeah, that's the best point.
Yeah. And just being genuine, right? Like there's
Yeah.
people that are going to appreciate that genuineness.
Yeah, of course. And that's when it will actually grow. And it won't grow fast. It won't explode, but you'll get an audience that's truly deeply connected and they're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll help carry you through things. And it's like just the same with like a lot of your behind the scenes with, the FD and Drift Masters and whatnot. Like it's cool to see that there are other people that are, waving that teal beanie flag.
Dude, yeah, it's wild. The fact that anybody buys these hats is just nuts to me. But I think it's starting to represent like a I don't know, like the nerdiest of the fans
Hmm.
where it's like if you're willing to buy the hat off of the guy that runs the podcast and wear that to me is like it doesn't mean anything about me. It means something about that fan where they're like, I truly, deeply, and completely love this sport because I'm willing to pay money to buy an uncomfortable item and wear it in the heat to represent how much I love this sport.
Yeah.
That's just nuts to me that those people exist.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like I
not a ton
remember
of them, but
yeah.
they exist.
You know what? At Irwindale, I think I want to say I saw like 6 of them or something. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's cool to just kind of I remember looking over and I was like shooting a video clip or something. And I looked over and I was like, oh, there's Jacob. I'm like, no, that's not Jacob. Like, fuck, I
yeah.
can't pick the guy out of a crowd anymore.
Yeah, it's same thing. I've realized, don't make it about me. Don't make it me selling a piece of merch or something else. Make it about like, hey, what this represents, which is that 1% of fans of the sport. So then it changed my mindset.
100%. They're good people too.
Yeah, yeah, they're great people.
um, so when you started to work with FD on the Outer Zone, you made it known that you wanted to get in the announcing booth. You had an opportunity when Jared couldn't make it in Utah, and you stepped into Prospect as a main announcer, and then afterwards you did your technical side. And but you you ended up volunteering at a German event because you wanted to solidify your chances of getting in the seat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to start off with that, I think something. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. It sounds woo woo, and I don't like the like woo woo shit in a lot of cases. Like the secret where it's like if you just put it into the universe, it will happen.
Yeah.
I don't believe that, but I believe that if you make your intentions known to people about where you want to be,
Hmm.
a lot of people inherently want to help you, right?
Yep.
If people are aware of what your end goal is and someone feels like they can help, oftentimes they will, and they will do something to give you a hand in whatever that adventure is. So by me telling people like I would love to be an announcer, that then puts that into people's heads, and if something comes up, then that could come up. And that's really how that situation came up in Utah in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then with the Germany thing, it was just I did it. I felt pretty good about it, but I knew I just needed to do more. Um, so I was like, I hit up that company. Simon Olson told me that the event was going on and that they might need somebody, and I set them up. I was like, hey, I want to do it. Just cover my flight, my hotel, whatever. Just let me do it, and they did, and that's really what it came out to. Like I didn't demand money off the beginning. I didn't. I just said I just don't want to be out of pocket,
Yeah.
and I booked. It was a really cheap flight. It was a terrible time, but I got there. The event was nuts. I stayed in an incredibly hot cabin on property with my co-announcer, and we had a blast. And him and I are still good friends now, and we chat pretty regularly. And
Nice.
yeah, it's just got to tell people where you want to be, and at some point, somebody might help you. So that's what you have to do.
Oh, and if you don't speak up and act on it, no one's gonna know.
Well, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, you got to hustle in silence and all this shit." Like, yeah, it's good. Don't brag about what you're doing because that puts a bad taste in people's mouths. But at least show them the road that you're traveling down, and maybe they've got a pit stop along the way, or maybe they know somebody along the way that can give you a hand. That's I have. Uh, Fuck it, I'll talk about it. I have an interview tomorrow with the Seattle Kraken, the NHL team, to
What?
potentially come in as a broadcaster. Yeah,
Nice.
and that is a me telling people what I want to do.
Yep.
I made it quite clear. I mean, it's public. I've talked about wanting to get into F1. I still
Yep.
would love to get into F1,
Yep.
but a little bit more behind the scenes. I started talking about like, I'd love to get into hockey. It's a sport that I deeply, deeply love. I played
Mm-hmm.
it. I still play it. Kids play it. I grew up watching it. My dad always wanted to be a commentator for the NHL, like stuff like that. Like, you know, why not tell people about my love for that? And something comes up. Well, sure enough, funny enough, Michael, who's the podcast guest on the Outer Zone today,
Okay.
works for the Seattle Kraken as an equipment guy.
Fuck.
So him and I were chatting. We chat hockey all the time, and he's like, oh yeah, all this stuff. And he mentioned that he knows some people there. And then I was chatting with another person who owns a very large company, and um, I just brought that up to him because he's somebody I talk to about a lot of career aspirations. He owns several multi-billion-dollar companies, like just big, but like very down to earth. You'd never know.
Yeah.
Has like an old ass phone, wears like cut off jeans and shit.
Just
Like,
humble.
yeah, you'd have no idea the dude's a multi-billionaire. But I talked to him and he's like, oh, one of my companies has a booth with the Kraken, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, like a suite. He's like, yeah. He goes, I know some people. Let me like put your name out there, put a resume together, put a reel out there, and I'll forward it along. And I'm like, cool. So he did that. Michael mentioned it to a couple of people there, and I sent a couple emails, kept following up, and finally I was like, "Hey, I'm coming to Seattle for an event.
Yep.
Can we just set up a talk? Like
Yeah.
that's all that I want. Like no pressure. I just even if it's not an interview, I just want to understand what the career path is. If I want to get to the NHL, what
Mhm.
do I need to do? Because there nobody's telling you. No, there's
No.
no like this is how you do apprentice here and you work there and you put 3 years in
Yep.
for an AHL team and then you get promoted 6 years later. Like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So worst case, this dude says you're not fit for it. You got hand tattoos and you're a bad fit and you'll never do it. He's gonna tell me to fuck off. That's the worst case scenario.
Yep.
Best case scenario, he goes, "Oh my God, you're incredible. Here's a contract for $1 million and you're now an announcer." Chances of that happening are pretty slim. But more than likely, what'll happen is he'll go, "Hey, you don't have the experience. Keep doing what you're doing. Try and work for a team. Maybe
Yep.
here's a couple of teams that could use some help or a spot that we could potentially lead you down, and come talk to us in 5 years."
Mhm.
That's probably the most likely situation.
Yep.
Cool. I'm so much further ahead than I would have been before that conversation, and that's all because I told a couple of people a pretty crazy dream of mine, and within a year, I have an interview or at least a conversation or whatever you want to call it with the VP of communications for the Seattle Kraken.
That's crazy, man. That is so cool.
But just telling people shit, man. That's it. Same thing with F1. Like that hasn't gone that much further, but I know people that work there. I
Yep.
chatted with a videographer in Latvia who's worked for McLaren. And
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, that's super cool. Well, I know a couple people. Maybe there's an event and we can get you out there. Cool. It's one more
Yep.
step, just
Yep.
one little bit closer."
Well, and I find with the ease of communications in, like, say any social media, Instagram for is obviously a little more casual, LinkedIn for business type things and everything. Like the the reach is there if you look for it, and depending
Yeah.
on how you approach it, like it's entirely possible.
Yeah. It's just knowing where to go, being respectful,
Yep.
communicating in a way that somebody's receptive to, and learning and working with people. That's the biggest thing.
Hmm.
So I mean, let's be brutally honest. Am I the most qualified person to do what I'm doing? No, not even close. There are people who are far more knowledgeable about drifting than I am. There are people who are better presenters than I am, but I put in a lot of work. I put in a lot of time. I met the right people. I did a lot of shit for free for a long period of time, and
Yeah.
I got the opportunity and just did everything I could to not let that opportunity slip. That's how it is.
You're too humble, brother. You're good at what you do, and your passion shines through like
I
crazy.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
man.
I also just realized that the chances of me actually being the best at what I do is so fucking slim. Like
Yeah.
it's nearly impossible. There's some kid at home right now who probably has an incredible memory for the history of FD and the technical knowledge that's way better at that than I am, but maybe doesn't have the social skills. And
Yeah.
there are people out there who are incredible presenters, but don't actually know much about drifting or don't have the ability to have the information recall, but are very entertaining.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't have the best of either of those. I'm somewhere in the middle, but once you put those two things together, it's worked out.
Yeah. That's fair, man. And I mean, we all play a piece to somebody's puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just figuring out where you fit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing. Puzzles are definitely interesting to put together, but when everything is together and the image is complete, it's working.
it's nice.
Um, so we essentially grew a friendship from the basis of music. We both evidently taken our passion for cars and upscaled it immensely. You more so in terms of our career at this point. The sense of community between those things like has just been cool to see and be explored through the use of social media. What is something that you feel in drifting that feels unique to the community of drifting?
Ooh, and in regards to social media,
Yeah, like social media and just like the way it feels as a community.
it's very open. It's very open to discussion. The drivers are very open. There's not many sports where like somebody will make a post about something they're not happy about, and then like a professional driver comments back on it and is like, "Oh, this is why this thing happened." Like
Yeah,
that doesn't happen in almost any other sport. Like it does. There's no NASCAR driver, F1 driver who's in a message board going back and be like, "This is why this situation happened." That doesn't
yeah,
exist. So because the sport is young and it's new and it's exciting and grew up with social media, it was born in the social media era.
hmm
You have that openness two drivers and staff and other people that is unavailable in any other sport or almost any other place that's this big.
Yeah.
So that's the best part to me. Open pits, open communication.
Hmm.
The drivers are all vlogging. Like if you really want to learn about a driver, you can go watch their vlogs. Uh, it's just, and it's one of the only sports wherein for 3 4 years, Jared actually talked about this and made it sound really really good. It's a sport where in 4 years you can become a pro.
Yep.
Right? You could never drive before. You could drive a year of grassroots, drive a year of pro am, drive a year of pro spec, and then get right into pro. So really,
Yep.
in 3 years, you could do it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, you could be one of the best in the world in 3 years or less.
Yeah, like putting it into that perspective, it's obviously it depends on how bad somebody wants it, and which usually just comes from the love of doing things. But the road that you have to travel on to get there is, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions along the way.
Yeah, yeah, and trust me, like that's the best case scenario. There are drivers who have driven for 20 plus years and still aren't pro and are still trying.
Hmm.
So
Well, and like whenever I was at Irwindale, like I had a media pass, but walking through the pits and everything, like you could totally, you could interact with the drivers. Like, I know saw Osbo was doing like kind of like a meet and greet and everything, and everybody kind of does that, I believe. But if you can be feet away from, your heroes that are out there, shredding tires, and just it's really cool to see that it is that open and that you don't need to be anybody special to get with your heroes.
no, it's the one of the best parts with it is just it is so open and available because it's big, but it's not nearly as big as so many other sports.
Hmm.
So you can just go up and have that conversation with them. And a lot of the times they will. Like if they have the time and availability, if you go up at halftime when they're slammed with people, you're not going to get that conversation. But
Yeah.
prospects going on, you sneak out of the stands for a little bit and go over the pits. You can probably get a good 10-minute convo in with pretty much anybody that's available.
Hmm.
Ooh, sorry, my alarm went off or something.
It's all, it's all
Spooked
good.
the hell out of me.
I uh,
Anyways,
I actually had a conversation with uh, Steph Papadakis whenever it was
oh,
the
sick.
podium that night, and it's just cool because maybe it was just like a California thing too, right? But like you see all these people, like I saw TJ Hunt like walking through the pits and everything, and
Yeah.
it was just cool to see like things that you've seen on like your TV or your computer, whatever, right? But then you see it in person, and it's just a different perspective change.
Yeah, but everybody's just people.
Oh,
Like we're all
100%.
just people. Like
Yep. Some are just more
that's
known than others, and that's it.
that's it. That's it. That's the only difference is
Yep.
like, more people know who TJ Hunt is than they know who I am.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like
Yep.
I'm cool with that and to have a conversation with them as long as you're meeting them on the level of a person,
Yeah.
it's going to be a pretty good conversation.
Yeah. Don't be worried about things. Just have a
Yeah.
conversation for the sake of the things that you love, and that's it,
Yeah.
right?
And you could be appreciative. Like I always enjoy somebody comes up and provides like a very specific reference or some like deep cut. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That like you
Yeah.
know that kind of shit. That's super cool. If somebody comes up and like completely fanboys, it's a little weird still. I think that I mean it's cool. I love it, but it's also like, holy shit, dude. But if somebody comes up like, hey man, how you been? Like, glad to see that the AC is going in your house again. I'll be like, dude, you have no idea. And like, I'll have that conversation with them every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and down there, it's actually I forgot how humid it was even in Ontario.
Oh,
Like I to me, the moment I realized what humidity was whenever my first flight in Texas. We landed and I got off the plane and I was like, "Whoa." My mom's like, "Yeah, like that's humidity. Like that's what it's like
every
here."
day.
And yeah, and I don't know, going back to visit like for Ontario, I'm like, "Fuck, was it always this humid?" Like I don't recall if it was like that growing up all the time, but
Yeah, you get used to it.
100%.
Yeah, even
Something else
here.
we
Yeah. I'm starting to get used to it. I'm not there yet though. It takes a while.
Yeah, it does, and it stays with you, right? Same as like
Yeah.
in the winters when it's humid and it just goes through your bones.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do to fight that either. Like no amount of clothing, like that cold, wet just gets through everything. It's the worst.
It does, man, and it makes your day a little bit more fun to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll learn that when you're out in the field soon.
Yeah, well, you know what? Last winter I was up in the Northwest Territories, and I
Ah,
was there in the field from October till March, and yeah, I was working out, and minus 50, minus 60 with the wind, and yeah, it was. I I hate to say that I didn't mind it because to me there was growing opportunities there, and I was okay with it, and you dress for it. You
Yeah.
you know it's going to be cold as fuck, but you take your warm up breaks, whatever. Right when you can't feel your fingertips, be smart. Go have a little break for a minute, come back out, keep doing your thing. But
I would almost argue that like -40 is not as bad as -12, but like wet cold.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just soaks, and
Yeah.
it's
It just
yeah,
you can't get the chill off yourself. Like when it's -30, you immediately know where a piece of skin is that's not covered, right? Like you
oh
know
yeah,
instantly.
yeah.
And it's
You,
cold, but it's like a surface level. But like -12 when it's wet and the wind is blowing, it can be like 2, 3 hours before you actually feel warm again.
yeah,
Yeah.
on like ears. Like if you're outside and it's cold and your ears are not covered up, that's the
Yeah.
first thing that gets me. And I'm like, nope, nope. Like I've got to
Yeah.
get myself into a warmer place. But I definitely dress for that now. um, as someone who's never been over the pond before, it's so cool to see the way that things work in Drift Masters, like from behind the scenes. Um, through your videos, like the atmosphere, it feels more playful, especially like with you guys doing like your promo videos and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
This is the best.
It looks like a wicked time. Like the locations are insanely unique. If there's something you could take from Drift Masters and implement into the workings of FD, and something you could take from FD and implement into Drift Masters, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, a lot of it is just like Drift Games in particular, who does a lot of the marketing for Drift Masters.
Okay.
They're phenomenal. So those videos, that is Drift Games. They're the ones doing that. So like you see their YouTube channel and all their stuff, but like their real business is a marketing agency.
Okay.
And I've gotten to work side by side with them on a few projects. Um,
Nice.
but they are so good and so crafty. Like with those videos, the post, the intro video, like everything that they put their hands on is so well done because that agency truly loves drifting and
Yeah.
almost nothing else.
Yeah.
So the amount of passion that they put into every video, every photo, every bit of content is incredible. And I'd love to see what they could do with FD if they
Mhm.
came over and got that contract. It would be nearly impossible for them to do both, but um, I would love to just see what the end result would end up being. And then to bring from FD over to Drift Masters, ooh, that's a tough one.
Mhm.
Um, I'd love to see more drivers, to be honest with you. I'd
Yeah.
love to just see what a few other drivers from FD would look like over in Drift Masters.
Yeah.
Like a Forsberg, like a couple of the OGs that have been around forever. The guys that like they've driven in Europe, they've driven a bunch of different series before, but like love to see what Matt Field could do over in Drift Masters.
Yeah.
Even Osbo, I mean, it wouldn't even be that hard for him to do it.
No.
Like I would really love to see the top 8 from either one or from both of them do both series. I think
Yeah.
that would be the ultimate for me.
I think that would be like you said. Some of them are from like Europe, anyways.
Yeah.
And
So
if they were
yeah,
over there,
like a Brandon Sorensen over there would be wild because of his style and the way how aggressive he is and everything else. I think that would be like nuts. LZ's done it. Obviously the Shanahans, James. But yeah, just more FD drivers over in Europe and more European drivers over in FD just to show them what it's like because it's for some of them it's a huge wake up call
yeah,
on both sides of the pond.
it's it really is crazy to just see the passion in the people that have made it to that level in drifting. And obviously,
Yeah,
there's the grassroots that is still going to be the same, but obviously, this is more publicized, so people are going to see it easier. But like
yeah,
seeing like James Dean and some of his vlogs and stuff over in Ireland, and before he got like the new S550 or S650, sorry, and
yeah.
yeah, it's really cool to see how much love there is for the sport.
Yeah, it's nuts. And in Europe, it shows it in such a different way because you represent a country.
Mhm.
So we don't have that in the US, right? Like
No,
it's not if we had maybe like more I don't know. This is gonna sound weird, but like state pride, where like drivers cheered for their or fans cheered for their state more.
yeah,
That would maybe provide it a little bit better. But I just actually, funny enough, while we're recording this, the Riga video just dropped, which is a kind of a departure from how I normally shoot videos. But I talk a lot about the fan base in it, and it's cool because you'll have like a section of Polish fans and a section of Irish fans and a section of Norwegian fans, and like they're all in their little pods, but like elbow to elbow squished, and everybody's cheering and like
yeah,
not like taunting, but like back and forth, but like friendly about it, and like, oh, your driver's going down. Like
yeah,
it's really really cool. I think the way that I put it is, it's like it's like sitting in a UN debate with tire smoke. And it's just it's so cool to see over there because everybody has so much national pride and there's so many countries represented.
Yeah, yeah, and because Europe is so, like, small in that sense, where all the countries
Yeah.
are like pods.
Yeah, exactly. And it's Riga really highlighted that for me. You could see it a little bit more definitively because of where it's located. Because that track just demands so much attention.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to go there to go experience the track and the facility and the town and the tourism around it. So it means that you get more people that travel to that event in particular.
Yeah, I really need to get over to Europe. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and, like, at first, I started to look at it from, like, the photography, and I was like, "Well, like, the history would be so cool to see, and like, take photos and all that stuff," but there's just so much culture and history in that that
Mm.
I I would imagine, when you see it, like, just the cities and everything look so cool and so unique.
Yeah, it's very very cool, and I try to do as much research before I get there and
Mhm.
understand like the what the place is and why it's the way it is and all those things. And um going back to that Riga video, like I talk a lot more about the history of Riga in particular, both Bikaniki circuit and the city of Riga, and why the track looks the way it does based on like it having at one point I think it was Swedish or Finnish rule. Obviously, Soviet Russia had rule over it, and then its independence. But like you look through the city and you'll see like Soviet apartments next to brand new modern glass apartments next to a cobblestone building that survived World War II, like
That's
all in
crazy.
the same street. And you're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this place? So that part is just phenomenal. It's such a cherry on top of being able to go to these different places.
Mhm. Well, and the fact that everything is so, like, I don't wanna say progressive, but, like, you can see, like, each era, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then like you're looking at this building that was built, before Canada or or America was a country,
Mhm.
and then in the ground floor of it is a Circle K, and you're like, what the hell? Like they put a Circle K because they got to put it somewhere,
Yeah.
so it just went in this building that's 600 years old.
Yeah, they can only build up, not out.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just it's wild.
Um, you've you've had a lot of big moments in your automotive career, be that in marketing, FD, or Drift Masters. What has been the one where you felt the biggest sense of imposter syndrome?
Uh, the f- probably the first Irwindale I did because that wasn't even the first full season. Calling Chelsea Denofa's championship was up there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I mean that was that event, so like that was just nuts. Where I'm like, I don't deserve to be here. Like it was the second event for FD ever announced. Calling Denofa's championship was insane. Uh, Knowing ahead of time he was going to retire because he announced that before the event, and just being like, oh, I'm here to do that and help out
Yeah.
with that. Like, call out one of the most recognized drivers in the sport's history and talk about him winning a championship and retiring all in the same breath. Like, it was tough. Like, I got pretty fucked up in my head about it because I'm like, somebody else should be doing this. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even do the whole season. So like, why am I getting to do that? But I
Even more emotions there too.
yeah, exactly. So I like said to Sage, I'm like, hey, you should be doing this. Like you did the majority of the season. Like you should probably wrap this up. He's like, no, you got it, man. You got this. And Jared does a lot of the heavy lifting on that part, but still just to even be there and make a couple of those calls and say some kind words about his career was like, whew, man, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, and like going back to just the conversations that you can have with the drivers and everything and how it is so like community driven. Like I joined a Facebook group about drifting. I can't recall what it's about. It's kind of one of the bigger ones, but I've seen, say people say something, and like I've seen like Denofa in there, going to bat behind it, or like actually giving an explanation.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, like it's good to see that there's just people and they are still going to communicate everything and kind of shed some light on things if people have an unbiased opinion or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It's really neat in that regard. And like I said before, just very unlike almost any other motorsport in the world or any other sport in the world that pros are willing to take time out of their day to argue with strangers on the internet.
The internet is so The internet loves to make fun of things, right? And
Yeah.
because they can hide behind, sure, their name is there, but I'm never going to see this person, so we can have it out, whatever.
Yeah, it's an even playing field in a lot of ways. So that also means people get a little bit too bullish about things.
Yeah, they like to stand their ground.
Yeah, for on the dumbest subjects too, but that's beyond me.
Well, like in regards to people just being keyboard warriors, like I remember uh, Clayton and I put up a video of like laid to rest, and
Yeah.
it was just in the little small room, right? And then um, just recorded off like a phone or the laptop, right? Like definitely nothing pro. And I remember this guy was starting to rip on me about some things, and it's just hilarious because it's like over something that you can't even actually hear or identify in it, but because this guy is so dead set on his point, they'll fight you tooth and nail for it, and that's the internet.
Did you miss a fill? Is that what he was mad about?
No, I think he's like, "Oh, I could play this on a single kick," and it's like, "Well, I literally have 2 bass drums." And I mean, nowadays that doesn't mean anything because I've seen a lot of touring musicians with like 2 bass drums using a double pedal, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, I don't get what you're, like, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But it's the internet.
Yeah, it's somebody's mad about something else in their life and they need to cast that upon somebody else. Like even the last event that I did, some dude DM me who I've talked to previously. It's not even like it was like a cold DM and he's like, "Bro, you're total dog shit this event." And I was like, okay,
Okay.
like I just messaged back. I'm like, hey man, I'm really sorry you feel that way. Like, I hope your day gets a little bit better. That you were so upset that you felt the need to message me while I'm working to give me really terrible feedback with nothing descriptive in it. If you have talking points or things that I think or you think I need to improve on, please let me know. I'm happy to listen to those. But a general description of your dog shit today does no one any good. And he came back and was like, "Oh, well, you sound really biased." I'm like, "Okay, cool. What run did I sound biased on? Like, let me know so I can go back and review it." And he's like, "I can't really remember." And I'm like, "Well, listen, we're gonna get into top 16. I'm not gonna read your messages till the end,
Mhm.
but at any point in time, if I say something that you don't agree with or you think I could improve on, message me, and at the end of the event, I'll review it."
Yeah.
And he left me one note on one run for the rest of the day. And it was something really small. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I messaged him like, hey man, thank you for that feedback. I'll work on improving that. Hopefully everything got better for you. Enjoyed the rest of the show. Like, have a good one.
Yep.
That's it. That like dude was not ready to be confronted about it.
Yep.
Wasn't ready to have a big boy conversation about it. And you know, that I was just like, okay, cool. And I looked at his profile and he had some shit on there that like kind of led towards me believing that he's just a shit talker. But most of those people just need some sort of outlet because they're not getting it somewhere else. And if you if you meet them on that same human level,
Yeah.
a lot of the times they'll back down. Now some people don't, and you just have to know when to cut it loose. But a lot of the times they'll just they'll back down or like, oh, I just didn't really mean it that way or whatever. And it's like, okay, well then how'd you mean it then? What were you hoping to get out of this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
most people just
What
they're
was
not
your
ready
actual
for it.
motive?
Yeah.
No.
Like why do you feel the need to do that? So
Yeah. Like, be a good human. I mean, if you've, I don't know, I've just really always lived by like that. If you got nothing nice to say, sometimes something needs to be said. If it's like an actual person that you know of, you deal with something, whatever, right? But if it's
yeah.
something like that, I mean, carry on. Like,
But if you don't have a goal as to why you're saying it,
yeah.
like what's the goal? If it's just to make me feel like shit, that's a pretty terrible goal.
Hmm.
If it's because you're not happy with the way something's happening, you want it improved, well then convey it that way and
Yep.
explain it. That's
Yep.
it. I love feedback. I'm not I still, I'm a rookie in what I do, so I need feedback, but just saying I'm dog shit, like that doesn't do anything for me. But then saying like, "Oh, I get a lot on pronunciations because the drivers' names are all very difficult to say and
Yeah.
you're having to do it in the proper pattern and things like that." So I get a lot of those and I tell people like, "Correct me. If I'm
If
messing up
I'm
someone's
butchering
fucking
it,
name." Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I'm saying Jossa instead of Josh, like
Yeah.
tell me that because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yep.
But in some languages, that might be the way your name is pronounced. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
but
get it.
yeah, it's just don't be a dick. Like you fucked his name up. Okay, how do I say it then? Like
Yeah.
just tell me, and
Yeah.
then I'll fix
Help
it.
me.
Yeah.
Well, that's my buddy Ray in high school. He's from Denmark, and
Okay.
he used to just call me Joss.
Just yeah.
There's no Josh, but I was just whatever, right? And this was like in the American Pie era. So like we would
Mm,
just always rip on each other and everything. And like I truly miss those days. Like I wish we all grew up with that type of humor and like,
mm.
you know, especially in Canada. I mean, I don't recall what it's like in the States so much anymore because it's been a long time since I lived there. But like, I feel the more you ride somebody and chirp with them and joke with them, it's just showing love, really.
Yeah, it can be as long as you're not pointed with it. I think like fun ribbing is good. It's good jousting. It keeps you on your toes. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of good for some brain function. You have to be quick back and forth, so your brain's got to be on guard all the time. As long as you're just not being like pointed.
Yeah.
If you really come out and attack somebody about something, that's different. But to like just joke around and kind of take the piss out of somebody, that I have no issues with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
You've
there's a fine line in the sand between those two things.
There is, and I mean, I think as long as it's kind of relative, sure, some things are going to be random, but I think if it's relative to a point that you're trying to, you know, get on with or whatever, then kind
Yeah,
of fair
yeah.
game.
I do it all the time. I mean, it's a way for me in a lot of ways, like to warm up. Like Jared and I do it back and forth all the time before the show starts, and Ian and I
Yeah.
do the same thing, where we're just kind of talking shit to each other, but we're trying to do it quick and creative, and it gets your brain firing, and you're like, okay, cool, let's go, because all that we're doing in the booth is basically a verbal dance of like, okay, I'm handing you something and picking something else back up, and
Yep.
it's a lot like being in a kitchen when things are going really well. That flow state you get into,
Hmm.
announcing is very very close to that, where there's no wasted movement, there's no wasted words. In kitchen reference, you're putting a pan down and someone else is immediately picking up and going to the plate with it while
Yep.
you're grabbing another pan, dropping it on the fire. Well, somebody's calling, okay, steak's almost done or it's going to rest, and then you're starting the alfredo to have to pair with that. Like those nights when everything just fucking flows, man, are the
Hmm.
best. And being in the booth is the exact same way, but you need to be in such a good mental attitude to be there. um, whether that's just positive or just on fire with things. Like it's a weird thing to explain to people.
I could see. To me, it would kind of almost seem like music, like where if somebody's having a bad night, you're not, in the same route in the
Yeah,
song as somebody else, right? But
it's jazz. It's freeform jazz, but with your voices.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it, actually.
yeah, yeah. A good set. I mean, there's one of my favorite bands of all time is Fugazi, and they used to like never write a set list, and they would just on nights that it worked. And there's some live footage of them where they would just transition from one song to another, and the band just knew where it was going to go.
Yeah.
And those are like the best fucking sets from them. And announcing is very similar to that.
Yeah, that's I've always known your love for Fugazi. I haven't listened to a lot of them, but I remember hearing
Oh,
some and I was just like, man, this is pretty like the way that it's all put together. It's definitely a unique sound.
yeah, it's very unique. It's not everybody's taste. It's very strange punk and early days of the DC scene, but like they spurred on so many bands. Like, dude, Blink 182 right now. If you go look at Mark's guitar, it's got a Fugazi sticker on it. Like,
Really?
yeah, and it's like, damn, like
Nice.
yeah, exactly. So, oh, sorry, no, no, Tom's guitar. Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, I always get the two confused. But either
Yeah.
way, like they're they've inspired so many bands. And if you go through and look at like man, so many bands have come out and been like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing this. And it's not,
Hmm.
it's unfortunately a lot of it's early emo music, but I'll let that slide.
It still actually gets to me when like people call metal screamo, and it's like I,
Uh,
I'm I'm not going to be an elitist and be like, oh, it's progressive death or whatever, right? Like to me,
yeah.
metal is metal. There's many
Progressive
different
deathcore. Yeah.
genres, right? But like,
Yeah.
you don't have to just call if you don't like it, you don't like it. I mean,
Yeah.
you
That's
don't have to
fine.
chalk it up into a snowbank of one category.
No, no. But we do that with rock and pop and rap and stuff like that too, right? And like, oh, it's not that. It's, or EDM,
Yeah.
it's drum and bass versus trap versus jungle versus, you know, chill pop or chill hop or whatever. Like, yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
So you're going to Seattle tomorrow morning.
I am.
Nice.
Yeah,
How many?
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just yeah, I think my flight's at 9 a.m. 6 hour flight. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good one.
And how many more events do you got for FD this year?
Seattle, Utah, and then Long Beach too. So three left and two for Drift Masters. So
Nice.
season's starting to wrap up. Five pro drifting events left, and then I have 3 or 4 other events as well. So like I have 9 events left in the year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Have you
It's
logged up
crazy.
your miles that you've flown?
No, I haven't, and I'm kind of mad that I haven't. I know there's some apps that do it, and I just need to download one and do it. But there's been a lot, like and a lot of like changing flights and last minute shit and missed
Yeah.
flights, and it's been a rough year for flying for
It
me,
seems like anywhere over the pond, there's like a little bit of a hitch.
bro. It's just learning. That's all it is, and I'm trying to take it in stride.
Mhm.
Try not to bitch too much about it. There's a few that were really nasty. Ireland was particularly nasty. I missed an entire day, and Latvia, I watched my plane take off, and I'm like,
Uh,
oh my god. So,
yeah.
but I got on another plane. I was only like 5 hours delayed, but it is what it is. It's just learning that like, hey, when you fly through Paris, you need 3 hours to do a transfer. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So
And that's got to be like hectic airports because there's so many people there.
yeah, and that airport in particular is a nightmare. So it just doesn't help the situation.
I've missed one flight, and it was because I was trying to be a good person. I
Mm,
was bringing back my rental car, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta put gas in it. So I did, and I literally arrived like 2 minutes. Say it was like 1 o'clock was the cutoff time, and it was like 1:02 when I was up at the kiosk, and they're like, oh no, wait, like you can't come in, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like
yeah,
I'm here. It's like a minute, and like I'm gonna be waiting in there for how long anyways? Like why?
yeah.
Like yeah, I'm sorry. Like
They got
okay,
to draw the
well
line somewhere. That's the hard part.
yeah, it was a tough lesson to learn. And I mean, at the end of the day, I just would have been charged more on my card anyways. So I mean, the gas I put in would have been charged on my card anyways. So I
Yeah,
look back at it pretty quick and I'm like, wow, that was a tough lesson to learn, but I've
yeah.
learned it.
But you won't do it again.
No,
Yeah.
N-
See,
no, they will definitely just ding my card for what's been left on it, and we'll carry on.
at $6 a liter or something crazy.
Oh man, what's it like over in Europe? Cheaper?
No, no, not even a little bit. It's like $1.85 or $1.85. So that works out to be like 220, 230 a liter Canadian.
Yeah, yeah, that's up
Yeah.
there.
But they also don't drive the same distances that we do.
Hmm.
Right. So a
And the
little
diesel
different.
love, the diesel
Ah,
drift cars that you see over there, like to me, it just yeah,
bro, it's the
the black
best.
smoke guys.
Oh, I love those guys. I just anything different in drifting is what I'm a fan of. Like I'm so jaded by like 1,000 horsepower 2JS15s. Like just give me anything else now.
Yeah.
So I still love them. They're great cars, but like just give me something that's not that.
Interesting. This is now coming back to my speakers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I hear the echo now. Interesting. What'd you do, Josh?
Hey. Damn it, Josh, you had one job.
Well, if you need to fix it, you can.
Oh yeah, that's all good. It's still going through the interface, but I actually just literally had the wrap up.
Oh,
So
sick. All
yeah,
right. Well,
it's
let's
it's
do
uh,
it.
it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, especially as my first guest. Considering you were one of the ones that kind of instilled the idea of a podcast. Um, Before we go, like, do you have any words or wisdom or advice or anyone who's looking to get started in the industry?
I mean, I think I poured out a lot of it. Just make your intentions known. Tell everybody what you want to do. Be humble. Meet as many people as possible because you don't know who's going to take you somewhere. Uh, it's going to be twice as much work as what you want it to be, and
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, really, just do it for you, and hopefully everybody else enjoys it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, no, this is good. The questions were good. Good research. Appreciate the hell out of that. If you want to check out any of my stuff, Jacob Gettins pretty much everywhere. I think it's Jacko13, JAKO13 on Instagram. Just
Yep.
dropped that Riga video literally while this was going up.
Nice.
Now, let me know what you think of that. When you get a chance, watch it because it's a bit of a different way of doing things than I ever have. It's a little more scripted. So
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about it yet, but if everybody else likes it, then I'll stick with it.
That's cool. I really did appreciate the I can't remember how you titled it, but where you didn't talk at all. I thought
Oh
that
yeah,
was a
Ireland
really
last year.
unique video.
Yeah, it was like an announcer goes to Ireland and doesn't say a word or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
it was really cool though. Like it was just storytelling, but it was perspective, right?
yeah. And I edited that like at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, I don't want to do a voiceover.
Yeah.
And I just listening to all the B roll because normally I just mute the B roll immediately. And I'm like, man, this sounds really cool. And I just did a
Mhm.
bunch of audio work in the background to balance levels and stuff. And I was like, see how it does. Did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, did okay. So
Yeah. I mean, people just appreciate being there with you, whether if they're there or not, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's the best part of it. So sick, dude.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for putting me on this. This is a lot of fun.
Not a problem, man. Yeah, it was a good time, and I could always catching up with you. I'll just say, thanks for listening to my ramblings, my shenanigans, and for following me along on whatever social media platforms you have. Feel
Yeah,
free to like, comment, subscribe, and
share it with a
we'll
friend.
see you in the
If
next
you
one.
if you got something out of this, share
Yeah,
it with somebody. That's the big
a
one.
hundred percent,
Yeah.
a
All
hundred
right.
percent. It's
Sick.
been an interesting change in the go, but yeah,
I'm
hopefully
glad we
you
did it, dude.
have some good news with your upcoming call, and
We'll
we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
see how it goes. All right.